नमो नमः सर्वेभ्यः संस्कृत भाषा शिक्षणे भवतां हार्दं स्वागतम्. So today we are going to continue with part 2 of the Krit suffixes. Saraswati namastubhyam varade kamarupani vidyarambham karishyami siddhir bhavatu me sada. Okay, so I'm going to, since in last class there were very few people, so I'm going to review what we covered in the last class. So we talked about additional suffixes, and these two we have already learned that to a pratipadikam, if you add a sup pratyaya, you get a nama padam or a name form. And to a dhatuhu, if you add a ting pratyaya, you get a kriya padam or a verb form. So today we are going to talk about krit pratyayas, and they are added to a dhatuhu. And the resulting form is either a pratipadikam or an avvayam. In last class, I gave a brief summary of other pratyayas like tadhita, stri, and sanadi pratyayas. So, krit pratyayas. This is a very important and a vast topic consisting of many rules. There are more than 100 krit pratyayas, and we will study only 7 of them, and they are the most commonly used. Krit pratyaya is added to a dhatuhu to create a new pratipadikam. The new pratipadikam, which ends with a krit pratyaya, is called a kridantaha. Krit plus antaha. The ta becomes a the. The resulting kridantas are nouns or adjectives. Now, once you have a pratipadikam, then supratyayas are added to these kridantas to form nampadas. And in some cases, they also form indeclinables or avvayas. So before we go into the krit pratyayas, in the last class, we talked about it letters. Because we are using suffixes, and all the suffixes have it letters. So what are these it letters? The extra letters attached to a suffix are called it or indicatory letters, which indicate the changes the original dhatuhu and pratipadikam must undergo. They vanish during their use. Panini has about, I think, 6 or 7 rules which tells us what is a it letter. So the last consonant in a pratyaya is a it letter. Any varna of kavargaha, chavargaha, tavargaha, la, sha, and sha in the beginning of a pratyaya are also it letters. And anunasikaha swaraha are it letters. So the krit pratyayas which we are going to study are these 7. So let us see in these 7 krit pratyayas what are the it letters. So the first pratyaya is tumun. So in tumun, the anunasika swara u goes, this u is a it letter, and the ending consonant na is an it letter. So if you remove these it letters, only tum remains. So tumun, after removing u and na, which is the it letters, which are the it letters, only tum remains. In the pratyaya, krit pratyaya katva, ka is a it letter because it's saying any varna of the ka varga at the beginning are it letters. So this is in the beginning. So ka is an it letter. So the remaining final form is twa. In liap, pa, la, because it is the la here, this is an it letter, and pa is the ending consonant. So la and pa are it letters, so only ya remains. In shatra, sh and ra, this is an anunasika, these are it letters because sh is in the beginning, so only at remains. In the krit pratyaya shanach, sh and ch are it letters, so an remains. In kovatu, ka and u are the it letters, so tavat remains. And in kata, ka is the it letter, so ta remains. So these are the 7 krit pratyayas we are going to study in a little bit more detail. The other topic which comes in the pratyayas are the agama. Agama means the arrival of a vowel or a consonant. For example, if you remember this sandhi, asmin aranye, after sandhi there was an extra na, asmin naranye. So here there was a na agama. So this agama is quite common in Sanskrit. And here in the pratyayas, in the krit pratyayas, agama plays a big role. So agama is an additional letter to an entity such as pratyaha, dhatuhu, etc. without adding any meaning. So the dhatus are classified as into these 3 groups: set, anit, and wait. They simply mean that a set dhatu could possibly could have an agama. And anit means that no agama. And wait means optional. So krit pratyayas are of 2 kinds, set and anit. Roots are of 3 kinds, as I mentioned: set, anit, and wait. So set means that there could be a agama, anit means no agama, and wait means optional. So this set, anit, and wait, if you look into any dhatu pataha or dhatu koshaha, you will see, they are classified. Like you will see whether it is a set, anit, or wait. So when does an agama happens? When you are adding a krit pratyaya. So if the pratyaya is set and the dhatu is set, then comes between a dhatu and the pratyaya. And if like either of them is set and anit combination, then there is no agama. For example, here in this 7, tumun and katwa are set pratyayas. Liap is a wait pratyaya. And shatra, shanach are also wait. And kavatuhu and kat are set pratyayas. So this one, these 4 are set and these 3 are wait pratyayas. So if you are adding a tumun or a katwa or these 2, so and the dhatu is also a set, then agama will happen. So let's look at an example. Pat, the dhatu pat. Now pat is a 1p set, and tumun, as I showed you, is also a set pratyaya. And after the removal of the it letters, which is an u and a na, only tum remains. So e will come between the dhatu and the pratyaya. So pat plus e plus tum. So the form will be patitum. Now pa, which means to drink, is an anit dhatu. So Even this is set, but since this is an anit dhatu, there will be no e agama. So it will be just pa plus tum, pa tum. Okay, so now in the last class, we talked about the tumun pratyaya. So tumun pratyaya, as I said, after removing the it letters, only tum remains. It is a set pratyaya, and the after adding tumun to the root, you get an avvayam. You don't get a pratipadikam. You get an avvayam. So when is tumun pratyaya used? Is used to express the sense of wish or the intention to do something. Like, I wish to read, or he wishes to go. So there, the tumun pratyaya is used. And in tumun pratyaya, the ending vowels and the short medial vowel takes the guna. So let us look at some examples where the e agama happens. Balaha patitum vidyalayam gachati. So I just showed you pat plus e plus tum, because pat is a set dhatu. So pat plus tumun. Tumun simplifies to tum. Since both are these set, e will happen and you get the form patitum. So the boy goes to school to read or to study. Aham uttamo chhatro chhatraha uttamaha chhatraha bhavitum ichhami. So bhavitum is a tumun form. So I want to be a good student. And bhavitum comes from the dhatu bhu, which is also a set dhatu, which means to become. So let's see how this bhavitam form is formed. So bhu plus tum, because it is a set, you insert e. So now this ending vowel takes the guna. So it will become bho plus e plus tum. Now o plus e, ayadi sandhi will happen, and o will become av. So bha plus av plus e plus tum, and the form is bhavitum. So guna of the ending vowel. This is an example from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 26. Na evam shochitum arhasi. So arhasi is this root arha. It is 1p, meaning eligible. So the tumun form is shochitum. So the dhatu is shuch. And it is a 1p set. So there are two things happening here. First, the guna, so it becomes sho, shoch, and then this is set, and the tumun is also set. So e in inserted, so that's why you have chi, shochitum. So this is a tumun form. So here the guna of u happens. This is the short medial vowel. If it was long, then no guna will happen. Okay, so now let us take a look at some examples where there is no e agama. Adhyapakasya vachanani shrotum chhatrah tasya samipam asidat. So to hear. So to hear the teacher's words, the student sat close to him. Asidat. This is a lang lakara past form. The dhatu is sat. Asidat, sat. And samipam, close. So shrotum. So dhatu is shru. And it is an anit dhatu. So e will not come. And only the guna of shru will happen. So that you have shrotum. So there is the guna, but no e agama. Saha karyam karatum nagaram gachati. He goes to city to work. The dhatu is kra, and it is an anit. So there will be a guna, but no e agama. So that's why from kra, you have kartum. This ra takes the guna ar, so that's why you have kartum. Now, there are many irregular forms also, and number of sandhis all happen. For example, let's look at the dhatu gai. Gai means to sing. It is an anit dhatu. So here, it won't be gaitum. This will be gatum. So this is an irregular form. Bala, gatum, balaha. Right? This is a plural because there is a long a before the visarga, so the visarga is dropped. Balaha, gatum, icchanti. So the verb matches the subject. The girls want to sing. So the gai is not gaitum, it is gatum. Similarly here, the dhatu is gam. So pita, gramam, gantum, ichhati. The father wants to go to the village. So the gam, the ma changes into a ta. So it is not gamtum, it is gantum. So ma changes to na. Sorry, yeah, ma. So these are irregular. For same here, the dhatu is pach. So mother wants to cook. Mata paktum ichhati. And here there is a sandhi happening. Pach plus tum, there is a sandhi rule. This cha becomes a ka. That's why you have a form paktum. Now this dhatu, drish. Like this is the drish, the tumun form is drashtum. So tasya mata drashtum balaha agachat. The boy came to see his mother. And in the last class, I explained in details that there are, 4 sandhi rules. That's why from drish, how it becomes drashtum. Okay. Then we talk briefly about the next krit pratyaya, which is twa. And after the it letters, the ka is an it letter, kakara, only twa remains. This is also sate, and it forms an avayam. And then another liap. Here again, la and pa are it letters, only ya remains. But this pratyaya is anit, but both of them form an avayam. And they are used in the same sense. There's one difference, which I will just, come to it. So when are katwa and liap used? They are used to express an action which precedes another action. So there are 2 actions done by the same agent. For example, having done action A, he does action B. The action A takes katwa pratyaya or liya pratyaya. If the dhatu is preceded by an upsargaha, then liya pratyaya is used. That is the difference between the use of katwa and liyap. So liyap is used if the dhatu is preceded by a upsargaha. Otherwise, katwa pratyaya is used. And the other difference is that this is sate and this is anit. So for example, if you add katwa to pat, you have pat plus twa. And since pat is sate, twa is sate, you add an e between it and it becomes patitwa. Having studied. Patitwa aham udyanam gacchami. Having studied, I am going to the garden. Patitwa means, patitwa here is having studied, aham udyanam gacchami. Now suppose in pat you had to have a upsarga pra. Then you will not use katwa, you will use liya. So pra plus pat plus liya, pra plus pat plus ya. Now there is no e added because this is an anit. So you will have prapatya. Prapatya means having recited loudly or having read loudly. So prapatya Pustakam sa kridati. Having read the book loudly, she plays. So some more examples of the katva. Will give some more examples of using the katva and liya pratyas. Annam khaditva sa kridati. So khad is said, that's why you have an e. Khaditva. Having eaten the food, he plays. Karyam kritva shete. So having done the work, he sleeps. Now here there is no guna. So you know the guna doesn't happen here. And the reason is because ka is a it letter. So that is why there is no guna here. Then example from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, verse 35. Etat shrutva. So here is a sandhi, which is etat shrutva. Having heard these words. Now, shru is an anit, and there is also no guna. It is not shrotva. So there is no guna happening here. Again, an example from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 37. Jitva va mokshase mahi. Jitva. The root is ji, anit, to win. Again, no guna here. Right? It is not jetva. It remains as jitva. So having victorious, you will enjoy the kingdom. Lord Krishna is talking to Arjuna. Then again, another example, verse 2 from chapter 1. Drishtva tu Pandavanikam. Having seen the army of Pandavas. Drishtva. And it looked like in Katva, this is Drishtva. But in Tumun, it is Drishtum. So you have to, note that. And because Ka is Kit, so Dra stays as it is. It doesn't change into a Dra. Then another example from Bhagavad Gita. Siddha asiddhyoho samo bhutva. Bhutva is a katva pratyaya. Bhu plus tva, bhutva. Again, no guna. Then vidyalayam gatva. Pustakam pathati. Gatva. Here ma changes into a. So as I said before, there are many, many rules and exceptions, when these krit pratyayas are used. Then annam paktva mata aparnam agachat. Having cooked the food, mother went to the shop. So again, the cha changes to a ka. So the katva form will be pakatva. And again, there will be no e agama. So now we'll look at some example of the liya pratyaya, which year remains. So devalayam pravishya devam namami. So the meaning is the same, but here the upsarga is added. So we use the liya pratyaya. So pra plus vish. Vish is a 6p anit. So no, it will be just pravishya. So having entered the temple, I pray to the Lord. Devam namami. Atra, so if you have a root gam, then there are two forms. Either it is agatya or agamya. Atra agatya vadati. Having come here, agatya means come, having come. Atra here, vadati. He speaks. So a plus gam is either two form. Agatya and agamya. Then phalani aniya tani khadati. Aniya is a plus ni and ya. So aniya is your liya form. Having brought the fruits, phalani aniya tani khadati. He eats them. Then again, this one, prasthaya. This is pra plus tha. So 1p anit, ya, prasthaya, having departed from the village. Grama, fifth case, ekavachanam. From having departed from the village, agachat, he went. Pustakam anukritya bala likhati. So having followed the book, the girl writes. So kra and anu. So that's why you have formed a anukritya. So these are the three avyams formed by adding a krit pratyaya. So one is the tumun, katva, and liya. So these are the three pratyayas we have studied so far. So and they all, when you add to a dhatu, they form a avyam. So and tumun is after the it letters. Tum remains. It is a set pratyaya, and you could, if the dhatu is also set, you will have a I agamaha. So, balaha pathitum na ichhati. The boy does not wish to read. Pita gramam gantum ichhati. The father wishes to go to the village. So, gam plus tumun is gantum. Right? It is not gamtum. Like the ma changes to a na. And liyap and katwa and liyap are used when an action which precedes another action. So katwa is after it removal, ka, twa remains, it is a set. In liyap, la and pa are it. So ya remains and it is an anit pratyaya. So and liyap is used when there is a upsargaha or a prefix before the root. So balaha patitva bhojanam karoti. Having read, the boy eats food or something. Balaha prapatya kridati. Having read loud, the boy plays. Some more example, like since root gum is very commonly used, so I've given here. The tumun form is gantum, the katwa form is gatwa, and the liya form is two forms, agamya and agatya. So that's why I have given, because the gum root is quite often used. So balo vidya, so balaha vidyalayat agamya shete. This is sleep. Having come from the school, vidyalayat, the boy sleeps. So gam plus liya. So these three pratyayas, the krit pratyayas, they form avyas, and they are tumun, katva, and liya. So now we are going to study two more pratyayas which form pratipadikam today. Okay. So these pratyayas are shatra and shanach. And when they are added to the roots, they form a pratipadikam and will have 24 name forms. And they more act like an adjectives. So, so in shatra, at remains because shakara is the it letter, and this one, ra, the anunasika ra is a it letter, so only at remains. And in shanach, shakara is the it letter, the ending consonant is a it letter, so only an remains. And when they are added to the root, they form a pratipadikam. So where is shatra and shanach used? So let us look at the two sentences. The boy goes or the boy is going. For Sanskrit, the continuous, like it will be the same. Balaha gacchati, right? They are the same. And the boy eats or eating fruit. Now, if you want to combine these two sentences, you could say, Balaha gacchati phalam khadati cha. The boy goes and eats fruit. Or you can say, Yah balaha gacchati saha phalam khadati. The one who goes, the one who goes, that boy eats fruits. But there is a simpler way of saying that. We could do it more simply, and there where Shatra Pratyaya comes here. You can say the going boy eats a fruit. The boy who goes eats a fruit. And here you have this Shatra form, which says Gachan Bala Phalam Khadati. So this Gachan is the Shatra form. And we will just see how this is formed. So Gachan means going, and is formed by adding the Shatra Pratyaya to the root gam. It is used like an adjective, like it is kind of classifying the bala, what kind of the going boy eats the fruit, or the boy who is going eats the fruit. So there, when you are combining two sentences, then Shatra and Shanach are used. Or you could have Pathan Bala Gachati. The boy who is reading goes, or the reading boy goes. So Shatra and Shanach Pratyaya are called present participles. They are always in the present tense. And if the dhatu is parasmaipadi, Shatra is used. And if it is an atmanepadi, Shanach is used. Shatra is always used in an active voice. And Shanach is used both in active and passive. So these two pratyayas, Shatra and Shanach, when added to a root, form a pratipadikam. And they are used to combine two sentences, kind of, So, and they act like an adjective. And they are also called, this is important because if in many books they are referred to as present participles. And if a dhatu is parasmaipadi, then you use Shatra. And if it is an atmanepadi, you use Shanach. All right. Again, as I mentioned before, there are many rules and exceptions. So I will not go into the formation of the Pratipadikam. It is too involved. And you really don't need to, you just need to know the form. So you don't need to know the grammar, how, what happens and how the Pratipadikam is formed. So I will only give the final form and examples. So if you add to the dhatu gam, the Shatra Pratipadikam, the Pratyaya, you get the Pratipadikam Gachat. Right? And so in the masculine, so since it is an adjective, in the masculine, it will decline like Gachat. In feminine, it will decline like Gachanti. And in neuter, it will decline like Gachat. So for masculine, you will have these 24. I haven't given the Sambodhana. So you will have these forms. Prathama Vibhakti, Dutiya, Tritiya, Chaturthi, and so on. And the form really which you have to remember is Gachan and Gachanta. Like if you remember these two forms, for now, that is good enough. Like these are the forms which are most often used. Like others are also used, but this is like Gachan or Pathan. That is, you will see the use more often. So Ekvachanam, singular, it will be Gachan, and Bahuvachanam, Prathama Vibhakti will be Gachantaha. Similarly, you should remember this form, Ekvachanam, Gachanti. And here it is Gachat. So in neuter case, this Pratipadikam, if you decline, this will be the form Gachat. In feminine, it declines like Nadi. So you have Nadi, Nadyau, Nadyaha. So it will be Gachanti. And here it is Gachan. So these three, if you remember, that's good enough. And also the plural form here. Sometimes you see this form also here. But this is more like Gachan. This you should know. Gachan, Gachanti, and Gachan. Okay, so let's look at some examples. So since it is a adjective, it should agree with the noun in gender, case, and number. Sorry, not in gender, sorry, in case, yeah, in gender also, gender, case, and number. So for example, reading boy or the boy who is reading sleeps. So patana balaha nidram karoti. So patan, because it is qualifying balaha, which is masculine. So this has to be masculine ekavachana, right? It should be first case ekavachana. So here, as we saw before, this one, here is gachan, patan. So this is the masculine form, gachan. So here also you will have patan, pat, patan. So patat was your pratipadikam, and if you decline in the masculine because it is qualifying balaha, so it will be patan, balaha, nidram, karoti. Now, suppose you have balika, reading girl, or the girl who is reading. So now it is balika, so it will be patanti, right? So here it will be like you have gachanti because it is qualifying balika, so you will have patanti. So you will have patanti balika bhojanam karoti. Or balaka again, gachan balaka phalam khadati. The going boy or the boy who is going is eating a fruit. Now, if you have balika, then you will have gachanti balika phalam khadati. So this one has to be careful depending what noun it is qualifying. Now here, look at this one. The talking girl is watching the eating boy. So the girl who is talking is watching the boy who is eating. So the girl who is talking, so balika. So you will have vadanti, right? Vadanti balika, the girl who is talking. Now, balakam is in second case, right? It is in second case, ekavachana. So here you will have khadantam. See here. Here you will have gachantam. So this is khadantam. So here, because it is qualifying balakam, so khadantam, pashyati. Now here it is in tritiya, gachata balkena sah gachanti balika api phalam khadanti. Going girl also is the fruit with the going boy. So since balkena is in tritiya vibhakti, so you have gachata. Here you are give the studying boy milk. Give the boy who is studying. Pathite, chaturthi vibhakti. Balakai. So here it will be also in chat. It is just like an adjective, right? Dugdham yach. Yeah, here it will be more clear. This slide is taken from one online Sanskrit classes. Like the instructor is very good. I'm going to talk about him. I have taken a number of courses from him, and he's just his presentations are very good. So I took this slide from his presentation. So using the shatra pratyaya to combine two sentences, and he is given this example into all the 8 cases, and he has taken the dhatu pach, which is to cook. So Devdatta pachati. Devdatta cooks. Devdatta vadati. Devdatta speak. So now he's saying pachan Devdatta vadati. Devdatta who is cooking vadati. So this is in first case singular. Now Devdatta pachati tam mata pashyati. So the mata sees that Devadatta who is cooking. So pachantam Devadattam. Not since the mata is looking at Devadatta, who will be in Dutiya case, so you have Devadantam, and you will have pachantam mata pashyati. The mother sees the Devadatta who is cooking. So he's done all these 8 cases. Again, you don't see, like in use, you don't see the cases. Usually you will see the first case. So I'm not going to go into, but like you could, it's very like pachata, if you have pachate. So from the declensions, you just use those forms here. Okay. The Shatra Pratyaya, this is an excellent example from Bhagavad Gita. He uses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 Shatra Pratyaya forms in this verse 5.8 and 5.9. An excellent example of the use of Shatra Pratyaya in Bhagavad Gita. So let's look at these 2 verses. Na eva kinchit karomi iti yuktah manyet, manyet tattvavit. Right. Now comes the Shatra form. Pashyan, Shanavan, Sparshan, Jigran, Nashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Shwasan, Pralapan, Visarjan, this one, Visarjan, then comes here. Yeah. Grahan, Unmishan, Nimishan, Api. Here. Indriyani, Indriyartheshu, Vartante, Iti Dharayan. So all these red are all Shat Pratyayas in the case 1 singular. And here you see this nya, Pashyan. So Pashyan Shravan. So the Shran 1. So there is a sandhi going on. So that's why this na becomes a nya. And this is a sandhi rule 8440. So that's why in some cases it remains at na. Here it is na. But in some cases it becomes a nya. And this is due to a sandhi. So here, if a na follows by a sha or a ja, then it becomes a nya. So the meaning of this verse, we are going to go through these forms in the next few graphs. He one who is all together, who knows the truth. I do not do anything at all, even while seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, sleeping, breathing, and so on, knowing full well that the organs are engaged in their objects. So he's just an observer. So an excellent example of the use of Shatra Pratyaya. So let's see. So here I have made a table here. So you will also learn some new roots. So Pashyan. And all these are case 1 singular. So as I said before, the Shat Pratyaya, you will, like, I have, except, very few cases I have come across, like, always it is, all the, especially in Bhagavad Gita, I have seen only the case 1 singular. So if you just remember, these forms, it will be good enough. So Pashyan, seeing. So Pratipadikam is Pashyat, and the case 1 singular is Pashyan. The root is Drish. Shranvan, hearing. So this is your Pratipadikam. The dhatu is Shru. Sparshan, Sparsh, 6p. This is your Pratipadikam. So it all ends in a ta. And all the case 1 singular ends in a na, right? Jigran, gra, like this is an irregular root. Gra and jigran, so it is 3p. Ashnan. Sorry, this is wrong. This should not be gachat. Yeah, this is wrong. Yeah, this is typo error. Here, this should be here, like this one. All right. Then swapan, then again, swap, 2p. Shwasan, shwas, 2p. pralapan, pralapan, So all these are the roots which are used in the previous words. So an excellent example to learn Shatra Pratyaya. Okay, so Shanach, now let's look at the Shanach Pratyaya. So this is present participle active. So as I said before, Shatra is always used in an active case and Shanach is used both in active and in passive case. And they are used when the dhatu is an Atmanepadi dhatu. And again, I'm not going to go how these forms are formed, but if to the dhatu lab, which is an Atmanepadi dhatu, and you add a Shanach Pratyaya, the Pratipadikam is Labhaman. And Labhaman will decline like Rama in neuter, Labhamana like Sita in feminine, since they are adjective, and Labhamana like Vana in neuter. So let's look at some example. Modmana. Modmana is the dhatu mud, which is a 1A, Atmanepadi dhatu. That's why Shanach will be used to be happy. Modmana. Now, this will be declined like the Rama. So, case 1, singular will be like, since it is qualifying Bala, it will be Modmana. Modmana Bala Nidram Karoti. Happy boy, or the boy who is happy sleeps. Now, if it is a Balika, then it will be Modmana, like Lata or Sita. So the case 1 singular will be Modamana Balika Bhojanam Karoti, feminine. Now, if it is neuter, then Mata Pashyati Vandamanam Putram. Mother sees the worshipping son. So one again is an 1A to worship. So it will be Vandamanam Putram, because Putram is Dutiya Vibhakti Ekavachanam, and it will be one. So it is like Vanam Vane Vanani, Vanam Vane Vanani. So Mata Pashyati Vandamanam Putram. And the last one we will, so again, the Shanach Pratyaya is the same. Now Pach Dhatu is a, it is a Ubhayapadi Dhatu. So it is also Parasmaipadi and in Atmanepadi. So in the previous, when I was talking about Shatra, I used the Parasmaipadi forms. Here we will use the Atmanepadi form. So there it was Pachati. Here it will be Pachate, right? So Devadatta Pachate. It is the same example. Devadatta Vadati. So instead of this one, Pachan Devadatta, you will have Pachamana Devadatta, because this is the Shanach form and the Pach Dhatu is here is used as Atmanepadi, and the rest will be the same. And then we will now, let's look at the Karmani Shanach Pratyaya. So this is called present participle passive. So if you take a dhatu lab, which is an Atmanepadi dhatu, and you add Shanach to it, the Pratipadikam is Labhaman. It is a kartari, obtaining. It means obtaining. If you add a past passive, remember in passive you add a ya and you have a Shanach form. So now you will have Labhyamana, karmani, being obtained. And or if you now have a Parasmaipadi dhatu, gam, and you add a Shanach, Shane, then it will be Gamyaman, being gone to. So here Labhyaman will decline like Rama, Labhyamana like Sita, and this is like Vana. So let's look at these examples. Balaha Grantham Pathati. So this too we have studied. So this means the boy reads a book. This is an active voice. The book is read by the boy. If you remember, the subject becomes in Tritiya Vibhakti, And this becomes in Prathama Vibhakti, and you add a ya and an Atmanepadi ending. So the passive form of this sentence will be Balena Grantha Pathyate. The book is read by the boy. So this was an ordinary, the previous Kartari and Karmani. Now what happens if you want a Karmani and Kartari Shanach? So here, if you want a Karmani Shanach, you will say Balena Grantha. This will remain the same. And you will have the Shanach form, Pathyamana. Because Labhyamana, so the book is being read by the boy. In the ordinary Karmani, it is the book is read by the boy. But here it is being read by the boy. Or Balena Vandyamanam Krishnam Aham Pashyami. I see Krishna who is being bowed down by the boy. So this is the Shanach. This you don't see that often. Like the Shanach, you see, but not that, you don't see it's used that often. But for completeness, you should know that if you, it is like Kartari is obtaining, Karmani is being obtained, and here, being gone to. So this is the difference between these two. Yeah. So, so what we have done, like in summary, let me just summarize it. So we have learned the three Krit Pratyayas, which form the Avyas. There are Tumun, Katwa, and Liyap, and two Shatra and Shanach. They are participles, present participles, which form the Pratipadikam. And they are used more often to combine the two sentences, like going, the going boy eats the fruit, or the boy who is going eats the fruit. And in the next class, which will be the last class, I'm going to cover the Kavatuhu and the Kvat Krit Pratyayas, which are the past participles. So we have about 5-6 minutes for questions. Any questions? A lot of material, and it's a lot of rules. I would say that.
So, okay, can I ask a question?
Sure, Raj.
Okay. So you had two actions, and you were applying each pratyaya to one action, and the second action was also already there. Can the actions be reversed, and the second action have the each pratyaya, and the first action becomes the normal?
It depends on your sentence, right? Like let's say, for example, here, you could say the boy. You could say the eating boy goes. Like this is what you're saying. That this.
Exactly. In which case,
then you will have khadan balaha gachati.
Right. So you apply the same rules, but on the opposite actions.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
But these Krit Pratyayas are, especially the Tumun, Katwa, and Liyap, you will, like they are used quite a bit, in any text or in Gita, like you will see their use all the time. So, and they do have exceptions, but, once you see their forms, you will start, recognizing them.
Yeah, Kumarji, as you said, there are a lot of rules, but it's also true now when I look at Gita, many of the words now make sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you start, Amit, you will start recognizing, Drishtva, Katva, like, like you will start seeing Tumun. So it's like it looks overwhelming right now, but slowly you will be able to, recognize more words. Yeah.
Very true. It's really helping a lot.
Yeah. And the Shatra and Shanas, you don't see that much, like that two verses, but the two Krit Pratyas, which I'm going to cover next week, you will see also a lot of them, like Gataha, you will see them very often. And those two are very important, their use.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like the verbs are now through the it pratyayas are connected to the declension tables now.
Yeah, the Shatra and Shana, and yeah, no, see, that's why, like Krit Pratyas, the three which I meant, Tumun, Katwa, and Liya, they form avyayas. So they are not connected to declension table, like they don't decline. Like Patitvam, yes. Like, they won't decline, like they are avyams. But these Shatra and Shana, they form pratipadikams, like here. If you add Shatra to the dhatu gam, it forms a pratipadikam gachat. Now, since they act more like adjectives, then in masculine, they will decline like gachat, right? Like, or dhimat, and in feminine, it is like nadi. So these are, the feminine pratipadikam is gachanti, and it will decline like nadi. And here it will decline like in neuter. So here you will have all the names. That's why in this example, here you have all the 12 forms. Pachan means cooking Devadatta. The one who cooks, like here it is the second case. Here is there the declension table comes in. Like, hey Pachan Devadatta, oh cooking Devadatta, kim tava haste, what is in your hands?
Right. Yeah. Some of the it pratyayas connect to the declension tables.
Yeah. So no, the three, like the seven which I'm going to I will talk. We are discussing the three of them. Tumun, Katwa, and Liya, they will form avyayas. So they are not connected to declension tables. Like they don't decline. Shatra and Shana form pratipadikam, and then once you have a pratipadikam, you add these 24 subpratyayas, and you will have a 24 name forms.
So they form noun forms than pratipadikam.
Pratipadikam is like Bala. Like, let's say Bala is a noun, but if you have Sundara, then it is an adjective.
Okay.
So here, since they are participles, they act more like adjectives. That's why you have these, like for example, Bala is just a masculine. It will only decline as a masculine. But since this is it acts more like Sundar, like an adjective, like you could have, a beautiful flower, you could have a beautiful girl or a beautiful boy, right? So then you will have these, they will decline differently depending upon whether it is a masculine, feminine, or neuter.
So, Kumuji, for example, here you have Gachanti, and Gachanti is Ekvachanam. And
yeah, that's why this is very confusing.
Yeah, you can only tell by the context in the sentence, because you also have Tita, Hanti, Sita, Tha, declining from the
No, but Tita, Hanti is a verb forms.
Yeah, and here...
Yeah, so you're right. So, no, but yeah, that's what I'm saying, that there are all these rules, right? Like this, for example, here, it is Gachantam. But if you look at the ta ending pratipadikam, see, we didn't discuss the consonant ending pratipadikams, right? I didn't cover that. But if you look at the ta ending pratipadikams like dhimat, marut, you will see this form. So here's in dual case, it is gachantam, which is unusual, like you are not, we haven't seen, like we've just seen vanam or valams kind of a thing. So that's why one has to be, you know, gachanta, like gachanta. But the ending pratipadikam decline like that. Or the ending neuter pratipadikam also decline. Like here you have gachat, and you know, so they decline different. Like a consonant ending pratipadikam declines differently than a vowel ending pratipadikam. And we haven't covered, like because again there are many rules in a consonant ending declension.
What's the name of the teacher you were mentioning who
I read this one, like the view graph. Remember, this I'm going to talk about in the next class, but since you asked, the guy who maintains the ashtadhyayik.com, the website, I'm going to give his name is Nilesh. He is a software engineer at Google, but he done a tremendous, outstanding job in Sanskrit. Like, so he has his, he has the whole YouTube classes, and just look at the quality of this view graphs. Like most of his view graphs are like these. But the thing is that he also teaches in Sanskrit. Some of them, like this is on his Google Drive. I got this PDF from his Google Drive. It's a mixture, but he is an excellent teacher. Like I have taken.
You will give his name next time.
I will talk about him. All his this thing. But where these view graphs are, this thing, and he's just like, I have taken about 10, 15 classes from him. He's just an outstanding teacher. He's very young also.
He probably grew up with Sanskrit.
Huh?
He probably grew up with Sanskrit, studied it very young.
Yeah, maybe.
Kumaji, next class will be the last one, you are saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, I'll be on a plane and I'll miss it. But I did wanted to thank you so much. This is amazing.
You're welcome. Yeah, just two more these things left, and then that will be the last class next week.
No, but we have covered so much ground in so little time. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
And also the material is all there, right? Like all the exercises, the PowerPoint slides, so you can always go back.
Yeah.
Plus your lectures are there too, so you can always go back and listen to them.
Yeah, the lectures are there, and for each lecture there is a homework, then the hard copy of the slides, so you can always if it's not clear, and if as I'll mention next week, that I'm if you have questions, you can always ask.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kumudji.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of new material, but that's the way it is. Like Sanskrit is,
it's a language. So
yeah, this grammar, so, and I'm only touching like I'm presenting the simplest way. There is so much behind it, but anyway.
Thank you,
I think
Kumudji.
this is 80-20 rule also. I mean, even though you're saying this is simple, but still it gives us so much to work with.
No, that's what I'm saying, that, there's just, grammar is like that, Amit, you can't.
It's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kumudji.
All right. Welcome.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.
I hope everybody has power now.
Okay.
Good night.
Okay. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.